Hello, Nomads, and welcome to the Nomads of Fantasy, episode 37. I am Dave, your new overlord and host for this week, covering for Brandon because he's a little stuffy. Brandon, why don't you say hi?
Hi.
Yep. No fancy quotes, and I'm also here with Eric.
That's my name. Don't wear it out.
Oh my god. So nerdy.
This week we are going to talk exclusives.
Exclusively talking about exclusives.
Yes, there's been a lot in the news about stuff going on. People buying people, and some of the bigger acquisitions in video game history. But before we do, we always catch up on what we've been up to. So, Eric, why don't you hit us with the hind and give us what you've been playing?
Sure. I don't know what that means, but I know we've been playing a lot of the same stuff, so I'm sure there'll be some crossover. A lot of good Game Pass stuff coming out in the past couple weeks that I've been checking out. I'll hit you with one that you probably haven't checked out. Well, maybe you have. It's called Paparazzi.
Ooh.
I looked at that and I was like,
the kids don't.
Hell no.
It's exactly what it sounds like and looks like. You're just going around taking pictures of dogs.
Yeah. That looks
it's pretty.
So it's a kid
cute
game. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's a game for. Were you playing it, or was
So I downloaded it and I was playing it with William a little bit, my son, and he was enjoying it. He honestly got bored because it's kind of a boring game. You're just, like I said, you start on these levels and you're going around taking pictures of dogs, and your goal is to get like more followers on this like fake social media platform called Dognet.
Okay.
Yep. So you take these pictures, and there's objectives like take a picture of a dog with a hat, take a picture of a dog on a boat, take a picture of a dog while you're crouching, or whatever.
I mean, it's
so
cute
just random
and
things
innocent,
like that.
So yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. And there's different areas, and like you can interact in different ways with the dogs. Like you can throw them frisbees, or you can pet them, blah 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 blah. And you like upgrade your camera, and get different lenses and different filters and film grains and stuff and colors, all that good stuff.
It's like my little first Instagram.
Yeah, it's cute. Everybody loves dogs, so
Yeah.
that's really about it. It's super short too. I didn't finish it, but from what I've heard, it's like a little over an hour, maybe.
Yeah, I can't imagine that lasting for too long.
No, I think there's like 4 different areas, but there's like different. You can go back to each area to get new missions, and there, you can go back to it when it's at night or like in a different time of the day. And you get different missions based on when you go back. So. It's cute. I don't know if I'll go back to it and finish it, but maybe I'll throw it on.
Are you saying like here and right now that Paparazzi is worth downloading and experiencing for about as long as you can? Could be the full hour.
Yeah.
And beat it. It's worth it.
It's worth it. It's worth the download.
Okay. It's on Game Pass. Don't even download it. Just cloud stream it. Don't even waste the hard drive space.
Dude, yeah, you could definitely. That's a perfect game for cloud streaming.
I know. I forget that that's there for those kind of games.
Dude, it's a perfect option. Yeah, and like,
or for games on Game Pass that are massive, and you're like, oh my god, it's gonna take forever to download this. Let me just try out the opening level on cloud, just so I can see if it's worth like downloading.
Right, because you can start it up and then it'll save your progress if you decide to download it, and you can just pick up right where you left off.
Well, it's nice after you play it for a certain amount. I don't know what the time limit is, but a little Xbox pop-up will pop up on the bottom and be like, you're playing this game for a while. Would you like to download it in the background while we keep streaming it? So Xbox knows.
Wait, it does that, Dave?
Yeah, absolutely.
It does that, yeah.
It can... Oh my god.
It knows how long you've been playing it, and it knows you've been playing on the cloud.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
So I did that with Olia.
Yeah.
And then, I started streaming it, liked it, and then I just downloaded it in the background while I kept streaming. So
okay.
It's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What else you got, Eric?
Enough about Paparazzi.
Enough.
Let's talk about a game called Nobody Saves the World. Because I know Dave's been playing this one too. It's a good one. I don't know how to really describe it. It's like a overhead 2D like dungeon crawler action game, sort of.
Got a little bit of Diablo-y to it. It's got a little bit of Legend of Zelda to it.
But the main twist here is that you get this like magic wand or whatever, and it allows you to change forms. And so you start out as just like this little weird guy, nobody guy, and
with no pants.
Just no pants. Yep, naked weird dude. He's got like this weak ass attack. And as you do these like form missions, they're called, you unlock experience and you unlock new forms as you rank up each of the forms. So like you'll unlock a knight or a ranger or a fucking slug. Like there's
like the horse. The horse is good. I like the horse. But
yeah, go ahead.
It just branches off from there as you like level up, the knight to a certain level. There's 2 branches off of him where you can unlock a mage or a monk or something like that, which is cool. But you're really, the levels that you're going up are like, there's some global ones and then there's ones per person. So you got to use like the same attack and kill this many people. But then you eventually unlock like an X button maneuver and then a Y button maneuver. And then after you get to a certain point, you can start taking things from one class and combining them with another class.
That's where it gets really cool.
Which, yeah, I think up until that point, like that's when the rubber meets the road and things start to get interesting, because the bad guys will be like weak to one thing or they'll be invulnerable to the other. So
you can start to build out these really cool classes, like custom classes, like you were saying, Dave. Like a lot of these enemies, they'll be weak to like a dark attack or something, and you can only penetrate their armor or whatever it is. Like you have to hit them at least once with this one kind of attack, and then you can attack them. So you can put 2 different types of attacks on your build to like hit them with it, and then drop their guard, and then you hit them with the other type of attack. So it's really cool. There's some strategy there for sure. And all the abilities are really fun. Like
each class seems pretty varied too. Like the knight's got his melee, the archer's got the distance, like the horse is like the heel kicks, which is hilarious because you're attacking backwards the whole time. So you can kind of like tag guys along as you're going and just keep kicking them in the face. But like the rat is surprisingly good.
Yeah, I like the rat. And you have to use certain forms to get through certain situations. Like the rat can fit through these small tunnels, or like the mermaid can swim across water or whatever.
I haven't gotten her yet.
So yeah, there's some depth there for sure.
You got like it's like a big overworld too, where I don't know. I heard somebody say it's like a Zelda map, which it's kind of, it's a big ass rectangle, and you're top down walking on it. So I see that easy connection there. But talk to people, you're getting side missions where you got to like talk to the shop owner, but you have to use certain forms, so you can't complete missions until you've unlocked, more forms that are human, because shopkeeper isn't going to sell a knife to a horse or a rat. So
I will say this is like a really good podcast game, or like a game you could throw on like a video or something on your other screen. Because like the story is whatever. It's your typical like you're saving the world story. You got to collect these shards. Blah 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 blah. Like it's.
I mean, this is an indie game. It's a very small production.
Should say it's Drinkbox Studios. Who are the makers of Guacamelee, which was a fantastic Metroidvania.
I downloaded. I haven't played it, but now I'm gonna make it a priority because I love Guacamelee 1 and 2.
Which it's a completely different type of game from
Guacamelee. But I just I trust their control scheme because that game plays very well, and I like their humor in there. So
the one thing about this game is like to unlock the forms, they're the more advanced forms. I haven't gotten this far yet, but I can tell that there could be like quite a bit of grinding, which is why I say it's a good podcast game, because like you're doing these. That's how you unlock, rank up your forms and unlock the next form in this like branching path. Is doing these form missions, which gain you the experience and allow you to level up your rank for each form. So you kind of have to grind out, killing a certain amount of enemies or doing certain attacks. So that kind of makes it a good podcast game.
I think you can repeat the dungeons too. The dungeons are they dynamic?
I think the enemies do spawn dynamically. I'm not sure if they're randomly generated, if the layout's the same every time.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure.
Because some of them, like you have a global level, like as you're ranking your nobody, I guess, up technically. Like the dungeons will have like a level marker next to them, so you have to come back to certain ones later, or kind of just plow your way through them. But it's a good way. I'm assuming, like you said, if you have to grind some classes and you're a higher level, you could go to a lower one, grind out, because usually they're kill based and stuff like that. So it's a cool original little idea from a little indie dev, which I don't know who they're owned by or if they're going to get swallowed up in this giant monopoly game of game development we're playing these days. But
I could be wrong, but I want to say that they're owned by Microsoft. Right. But I'm not 100% sure on that. Don't quote me on that.
Google.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's fun. It's fun to dip in and out of because I don't know, the missions are super quick. It's really quick to get around the world and everything. Like you can go to point A, point B really quick, and
it seems like you like the game.
You can just grind out these missions. Yeah, I definitely like the game. I need to play some more of it. I haven't played a ton, but I definitely want to get into it. That's one that I'll probably pop into every now and again. But yeah, it's fun. I highly recommend checking it out, especially if you have Game Pass.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. You got anything else over there?
I've been playing more of The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, which I talked
the VR game
about last week.
Yeah, nice.
Really into that still. But I think I only want to play that game during the day.
Well, you got the VR on. It doesn't matter.
It's not. I don't know. It's not that it's scary. It can get a little scary sometimes, but I just don't want, because a lot of times I'm playing late at night and then I'll stop playing and go to bed. But if I'm all
jacked up,
I'm all jacked up and riled up from
ready
these
to survive. You can't just go to bed.
Yeah, these intense battles with fucking zombies. I don't want to just take the VR headset off and go to bed. I wouldn't be able to do that. So, yeah, but it's still fun. If you want to hear me talk about it, you can listen to our Portal episode because I do a pretty good deep dive on it there. But other than that, I know Dave has also been checking out Windjammers 2.
Fuck yeah.
I played a little bit of, not too much of, but it was a fun little thing.
I've heard about it. I've heard it talked about, the original, because it was on Neo Geo, I believe. That's something that nobody had, unless you went to an arcade or played. So, but I don't know. I'll jump in here and do a quick Windjammers review.
Do it.
It is I guess it's like it's an arcade game. It's like you could expect to be putting quarters into something like this, but it is a Frisbee disc game. It's kind of like a top-down Super Spike volleyball, like those old Nintendo games. But you're whipping the Frisbee back and forth, trying to score it into nets on the other side, basically. So you can, and it's kind of like a fighting game because everybody has their own specific moves, and they have.
What's this game called?
Windjammers 2.
2. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Came out January 20th, 2022. So this is like the real release of it too. It's game one or day one Xbox Game Pass. But I was playing with some random guy last night, and I was expecting to go online and just get the shit beaten out of me pretty easily. But it was surprisingly fun. A lot of back and forth. So each level has its own kind of theme to it. So sometimes there's goals of 3s and 5 points, and you play to 15, and you do 3 sets, best of 3. And, guys will have their own special moves, or if, a guy throws it over, you can knock it up to yourself. And if you stand under a Frisbee while it's flipping through the air, you charge up a power attack, and then you can bounce it off of walls. So it's kind of like a little bit of air hockey in there too, where you can kind of just bounce a shot off of the fence and it bounces 4 times before it gets to him. It gets crazy and it gets super intense. I tried playing on medium and I just got the floor wiped with me by the computer. There's a little bit of a learning curve because I wish there was a better tutorial. They kind of give you
they bury the instruction or whatever tutorial menu pretty deep. You got to actually go look for it. Cause I started up, I'm
a couple down.
Okay. How the fuck do I play this game? You have to actually go to
stills. It's not like a controller screen where you just look at a controller and see this button does that.
For that kind of game, I feel like you need like an actual tutorial, like it walks you through each game mechanic.
Sure.
Because I'm like, there's so many different moves you could pull off that I'm like, I always forget to use like one of the moves, and I'm like, oh shit, I forgot I could even do that.
You can jump in the air and throw the frisbee sideways, and it rolls on the ground and goes into people's nets. Or I don't know. There's everybody has their own kind of special move, but it's kind of like a super Street Fighter kind of ultra move most of the time when they use it. But like it's like kind of the rock paper scissors back and forth though, because if somebody throws it, you can.
I love rock paper scissors mechanics in video games. Some of my favorite games is that. So that's awesome.
But you can if you flip it over the net and it lands on the ground, you get 2 points. So sometimes people take that strategy where you're expecting somebody to whip it, and then they just kind of dink it over the net and hit it on the ground.
I gotta stop doing this thing where I'm not clicking these games because of the cover art or like maybe a screenshot. Like I looked at both of these.
Cover art's fantastic.
I know,
it's got a dude with a pink mullet and like these shiny sunglasses. It's fantastic.
Yeah, but hearing you talk about it like this and.
Dude, it's like it sounds like Dave said, it's like air hockey and foosball and volleyball all mixed together.
With like
it's
fighting,
really
I don't know, because you can put spin on it too, so you can do curve shots where they'll bounce off the wall and then curve back in. Like there's a lot of little nuance to it where like you could play it for a while and still be adapting and learning and doing a lot of stuff. So
reminds me a bit of that Lethal League Blaze game, which I really enjoyed. But
with the ball bouncing around like crazy instead of a disc.
Yep.
That's what I thought it was. I'm like, not that again. So that's why I kind of like,
I think it's literally only just 1-on-1. So it's like, there's no team battles. There's nothing like that. Not that I saw. But yeah, it's definitely like a fast-paced arcade air hockey fighter frisbee game. I don't know. It's tough to describe, but it's cool, like, because it's something completely different, completely original. You don't see a lot of games come out like this. I could see it being an esport or something like that would be kind of hilarious, but like, I don't know, people take this shit seriously, so yeah, it's a good one. Was there anything else, Eric?
That was it for me.
You're good. How about you, Brando?
I mean, it seems like you two have been playing the same game, so I'll just go after you, Dave. Go ahead.
Well, I haven't really been playing much other than those two. I've been playing Animal Crossing with the kids.
Animal Crossing update. Let's hear it.
It's a very Nintendo-y game. I get aggravated because Nintendo gets away with the same bullshit for so many years because their games are aimed at younger kids, so they like repeat everything over and over and over, and the menus are just you gotta wait for people to talk, and I just want to sell my shit. God damn it, little Tim Nook. And then I don't know, like, oh, you want a house? That's 98,000 bells. Yeah, it's like a pyramid scheme where he like gets you in the door and then he just starts selling.
You got to play the stock market, dude.
I haven't gotten to any.
Got to get those turnips.
I haven't gotten any turnips. I'm not even quite there, but
every Sunday before noon, find the turnip
weird.
lady.
Like he sold me a radial menu. Like most games, like, oh, this is just like how the UI of the game works. They're like, nope. You have to work for that radial menu. You can't select your tools like that.
Are you serious?
They didn't have that shit in the previous game, so it's a vast improvement.
Oh my lord. But I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
The grind is real in Animal Crossing. It is cool how you get like the updates every day where you log in. It was my wife's birthday and my kids sent her presents in Animal Crossing and like
you could send each other letters and presents. It's great.
Yeah, you get the little Tom Nook update when you log in, which is kind of cool. But it's decent. The only other thing I really had was I started watching a show that came out recently called American Auto. I believe that's what it's called. This is a sitcom. It has parallels with, I would say, The Office and Superstore, where it's 30-minute episodes.
Have me intrigued.
30-minute episodes. It's got some guys from the other show, like the one guy from Superstore is in this one, and who else is in here? The main lady is Anna Gasteyer. I'm horrible.
Yeah, Anna Gasteyer. Isn't it the girl from X-Men and stuff?
I don't know. Sure, but no, she's the Michael Scott, where she's like taking over an auto company, and she's coming from like some marketing thing and knows nothing about cars, doesn't even drive. It's hilarious. And like
she's from Saturday Night Live. I know.
Yeah, I believe so. It was it's nothing. It's not gonna blow the roof off your doors, but it has that same kind of comedy, that same camera following people around, like the workplace kind of humor in it. But
first seasons are always like the rough season for comedies.
Yeah, basically. But Anna is definitely the Michael Scott, where she's kind of like the clueless leader, whereas just kind of like flying by the seat of your pants and, just doing all sorts of hilarity ensues. So,
where are you watching this?
It is on Peacock.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, straight away from the Hulu, went looking around for something else and stumbled upon this one. So,
can you get that with the free Peacock, or do you have to like have the premium?
I mean, you get the same commercials as Hulu. It doesn't look like. I mean, IMDb, it has a 5. Rotten Tomatoes, it has 100%. So I don't.
Okay.
I'm assuming it lands somewhere in the middle, but I'm only like 2 or 3 episodes in. But it is kind of. There's been a missing hole where The Office was, where Superstore was, those kind of shows. I liked both of those, and this one kind of follows suit.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I like a lot. Did you watch The Good Place? I really like The Good Place.
I've seen bits and pieces.
It's good.
It's fine.
I recommend sticking with it.
It's like Purgatory or whatever it was, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
to dance in and
yeah, it's a good concept. But yeah, anything similar to The Office, I'm all in for.
Yeah, it's worth a try if you bounce off of it.
Awkward humor.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's plenty of that, but it ramps up quick. So, that was about it for me. Yeah. Anything else, Brandon?
I watched Oblivion. It's like this Tom Cruise movie.
Dude, yeah. I thought
it was good.
It was fine, right?
It was very like neither it never dipped and it never like spiked. It was very, to me, it was just sit back and just watch.
Yeah,
sure.
It was.
I get that.
It was like whatever. Like the big catch comes like probably like halfway into the movie, and I'm like, all right, I guess that's the catch. Like it's interesting. Like it's Tom Cruise. Like Tom Cruise is one of those actors.
And Morgan Freeman.
He's just always good to watch. Morgan Freeman comes in like halfway into the movie a little bit or something like that. Whatever. It was cool. I like the world building. I like the technology. I liked the
I remember
he was a charming character.
I remember liking it when it came out. Like that's when I saw it, and I saw it in the theater in like 2014 or whatever when it came out.
Oh, okay.
And I remember it being good. Yeah. I feel like
it's good.
I feel like that era, like 2013-ish to 2015, Tom Cruise did like a bunch of movies. He did like the Live, Die, Repeat. He did Oblivion. He did those.
That one was good. I would recommend that.
Jack Reacher movies. Like I feel like Tom Cruise had like a mini renaissance in that era. But yeah, Live, Die, Repeat is really good. And I just remember liking Oblivion when it came out. But
yeah, it's just fucking Tom Cruise in the future, and there's some alien shit going on. And I don't know, whatever. I can't recommend it. I don't think it's a great movie. I think it's just very watchable. And if you like Tom Cruise and space stuff, then you'll be fine. Like Ad Astra with Brad Pitt is way better, I would say. But anyways, I also saw Eternals. I thought I wasn't gonna like this movie. I'm kind of burned out on superheroes.
I've been the same.
And after Infinity War, it's like stuff has been good. Like I liked the WandaVision. I didn't mind Loki or any of the other shows. I haven't seen the new, but it's just it's just a lot of superhero stuff going on, and with The Boys and Invincible, there's like other shows that are also scratching that itch, and it's everywhere. So I was like, I'll watch it with the family and the kids, and maybe I'll just kind of dick around and do something else. But I actually watched the whole movie and enjoyed it. It was long. I had no issues really. I mean, some things are a bit silly, but they're just Marvel silliness. It's just like Disney Marvel kind of things. And I'm just like, whatever at this point, it is what it is. Just enjoy the ride. So again, I would say it's not as, I don't know if maybe it's a good movie and people are just saying it's not like, it's like the weakest one because most of the superhero movies are good, but it's fine.
I saw it this week too, and I kind of forgot about that. But like, I think part of it is like there's not any known quantities in it, like you don't really know any of the Eternals. Like when the movie starts, like Captain America
I
or
didn't know
Spider-Man
Thor and
or
Iron
any of
Man,
that
to be
shit.
honest with you.
Oh, really?
I'm not a comic book guy. Like, I knew they existed. I'm like, I knew Superman, Spider-Man, Batman. I knew like the big three. And I was like, okay, maybe Wonder Woman, Catwoman, some other like, female characters. Like, I didn't know any really big characters. I just knew kind of like the core ones. And then here I am now, and I know all the Avengers and Black Widow. I'm like, who knows fucking Loki and Black Widow are characters, and it makes no sense. Like, Loki's a character in the comics? Like, I thought he's like a god from... So, whatever. So, Eternals, like, I'm over that whole I don't know anybody anymore. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
But
I think it just makes it a little, like, the story's got to be... I thought it was a bit too long. It was all right.
I don't understand the villain. Is he like... Is that big giant thing at...
Celestial.
What is he?
Celestial. It's like the...
Okay.
They're like the... I don't know. Not arbiters of the universe. They're like one of the more powerful celestial beings in the Marvel universe.
Okay.
Like that place they go to in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I believe, is like a dead celestial's head. They're basically just like gutting it for all the technology and crazy shit that's in there. But like they're in like the I don't know. They're in like the cosmic part of the Marvel's universe. They're not like on like the Earth part of the cosmic universe.
Okay. All right. It's cool that you know that. I don't know. I know we've been kind of... One day we'll do a Marvel episode in some capacity, and we'll definitely start tapping Marvel stuff for sure. But I just want to say that it's watchable. If you were on the fence, like if you have Disney Plus, then definitely watch it. But if you get
that's a re-endorsement. It's watchable.
Well, there's just so much content.
Did you watch it with kids? I thought I tried watching it with 2 kids, and it was not. It's not.
I watched it.
They had no fucking interest in it whatsoever.
You pause. Oh yeah. I don't know. We put the kids to bed and we finished watching the movie, and we were fine. My wife was into it. I think she just wanted to see the Rob Stark and Jon Snow characters, and it was weird because one of the main characters, the one woman, her name is Cersei, and Rob Stark, the Icarus in the movie, he's the enemy was Cersei. You're like, so it's just weird for him to be like in love with like this Cersei character, and it was just like the naming and the actor's history and stuff like that. It just was weird. But if you know Game of Thrones, you know what I'm talking about. But anyways, real quick, I got an Xbox Series X, and I booted that thing up. I got a new TV. So yeah, I went from an Xbox One X to an Xbox Series X. And my TV went from a 55-inch 65 hertz to a 65 120 hertz refresh rate. And, I want to see what this thing can do.
What'd you play first?
It's cool. Oh, my God.
What was the graphics test?
This is what I want to talk about. So the first thing I could play right away was... Assassin's Creed Odyssey, because all it did is just boosted it to 60 frames a second.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. Yeah, 60. Smooth 60. And that's it, really. Just very...
Dude, you got to play fucking Forza.
I was going to say, that was going to be my guess.
Because that's like
Halo.
The graphical showcase, and like the loading times are insane. Because I know you guys were complaining about the loading times on your One X's, and like on my Series S, like it's fucking blazing fast. You're in there in like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, I mean
that's the selling point of next gen for me is the loading times.
The SSD is the savior.
Yeah, man.
Well, I just want to say that just know that if you're going from the Xbox One to the Xbox Series X, just know that you can't see. I had a lot of games on an external hard drive, and I just plugged it into the new console, and like I could play the game. Well, I couldn't play the games. It's like, well, there's an update. So it's a pain in the ass because you can fill up the internal hard drive real quick.
Well, you can't take advantage of the SSD on the external hard drive. You have to move them to the internal storage.
Right, and that's not just loading times though. It's like the texture is like it's like your external hard drive is not fast enough to play this game, so you can have it here, but you can't play it. It says it on the Xbox. I'm like, okay.
Yep.
So I was just going through all the games I've downloaded. I'm like deleting games. Like, all right, I bought you. You're about halfway through you. I will come back to you, but you got to get out of here. And I just stripped down a lot of games right now. And I've been doing that and just whatever. But I just want people to know that if you do upgrade, just know that it's not
it's
that
hard.
slick.
It's like choosing your favorite children. Like,
because you can buy.
Just
you're
like
coming with me
knowing
to the new.
burying
You're
stuff.
coming with me to the new location, but no, I'm sorry.
Just tucking things away into like bins that you know like or whatever in your basement kind of thing is what
Yeah,
it's more like,
basically.
because it's like I could pull you out, but right now I got other I got to finish these things, so I was trying to play games that are 90% done, so that way I could just finish them and stop taking up 80 gigs.
That is
60 gigs.
The one thing.
Dude, Gears of War, 5, Halo, and Forza. Those 3 games alone, if you want the new gen, it's just like, oh my god, these, and like you play Halo you keep it around for the multiplayer, and Gears of War. I mean, all these games are just like, these are games you're gonna keep on here for a while and play because they're just, they just take up so much space.
At least they're kind of doing the thing nowadays where you can sort of piecemeal it. Like you can uninstall the campaign if you want off of Halo if you're done with it or whatever, and it saves some space. But
that's true. That's smart. I didn't appreciate that. And maybe we'll get into that in the exclusive stuff where you can do that kind of shit. You know, where you make a game for your system, you can do that kind of stuff. But the final thing I will say is that I thought I would be more interested in and I do appreciate all games are 60 frames a second. For 50, they're 6. What am I trying to say here?
60 hertz.
60 frames a second.
120 hertz.
Yeah. It's fine, you know, whatever. I like it. The fast load times are great. What I really like is the quick resume.
Quick resume's great.
Because I don't know, man. I just love that I can have like 5 games or whatever queued up and I can just instantly go between them.
Yeah, that's pretty handy.
And it's like literally right where you left off. It's just having like 5 Xboxes or whatever at the same time.
There are some games that have bugs with it. Just a forewarning, Halo Infinite and Forza Horizon 5 both don't do well with the quick resume that I've noticed anyways. Okay. Like if you resume them, like the network features will be all messed up, so you have to just quit out the game and restart it. That's the only thing with the quick resume, but like a single player game that, you know, say you're in fucking Red Dead 2 or whatever and you suspend it and you jump right back in, like you have no problem just getting right back in there.
Well, I like it personally just for my playing style. My usual routine is I'll have a single player game I'm chipping through, and then I have a multiplayer game that I'm always kind of, you know, going in and, you know, doing some matches and stuff like that. And then I'll have like Game Pass indie games that I also have in my rotation. So every week I'm just kind of like, that's usually what I'm doing, like chipping away at a single player campaign. I got some kind of multiplayer going on, maybe 2, you know. And then I have the indie games, or like those. The new trend is these four player team Left 4 Dead kind of games coming out. You got, you know, like a Crucis.
Anacrucis,
yeah, that
Back
game,
4 Blood.
which is like Back 4 Blood, and then
Aliens Fire Team,
Aliens, and now Rainbow
Dark
Six
Alliance
has one.
Dark Alliance.
Yeah, screw that game. Sorry, that game, R.I.P. But yeah, it's just like that genre has been kind of popular, so we should be playing some of those games, guys.
Fuck
actually, yeah. All right, I'm done.
All right.
Let's
well, thank you for sharing.
First act.
Yeah, let's close this out, and when we come back, we will be discussing exclusives right after this. Hello, and we are back for Act 2, where we're back here to discuss some exclusives. But before we do, Eric sent out some stuff on social. What's the haps on the socials over there?
Yeah, so on Twitter and get this, we are also on TikTok because we're hip like
oh
that.
Yeah, look at us.
So you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at Nomads of Fantasy, and on TikTok at the Nomads of Fantasy. So on Twitter, I post a little video just asking if talking about the Microsoft acquisition of Activision Blizzard, and if exclusives are a good thing or bad thing for the gaming industry. Got a couple people talking about the acquisition. That damn podcast says, well, it's a solid move on Microsoft's part. Gonna be tons of exclusives, which I agree with that. I mean, their catalog of IPs right now is just absolutely insane.
Growing and growing.
You don't drop that kind of money and not come out with exclusives for your console.
Right, exactly.
It's just what games.
Right. The 69 Whiskey podcast says, I don't like the monopolizing of it, but if it gets Activision to stop being greedy fucks and release good Call of Duty games again, that's all I want in the end.
Which, that's very true. That's one of the weird things about the acquisition. Like, it's good for a lot of people, and I don't know. I don't see a ton of bad out of it, except for the monopolizing part, but we can get there.
And Alice Foley on TikTok says, I mean, I don't love it, so a bad thing, I guess. That's all.
So deep.
Very confident in your answer.
Must be a PlayStation person.
Hey now.
Wah, wah, wah.
We'll get into it.
As Eric mentioned, what kind of started this whole, I don't know. I want to say a blizzard of talk, but last week Microsoft bought Activision Blizzard for $68.7 billion.
Dude, did you see this? That's the equivalent of over half of Microsoft's 130 billion cash. It's the cash they have on hand. So that's like their liquid assets. So that's over half of what they have.
There's a vault.
That's insane. And was this the biggest acquisition in video game history?
Yeah, a couple. I mean, what was it? Zynga got bought out a couple weeks ago for, I think it was single-digit billions. It wasn't anywhere near this. And then
the Bethesda deal was only $8 billion,
which seems like a steal now. But
right, it's insane.
Yeah, so that kind of brought up the topic fresh. There's always been, I don't know, there's always been exclusives for as long as there's been games, which is kind of a tough thing because they're kind of a necessary thing, but at the same time for gamers, I mean, gamers want to play everything, so it kind of shoehorns gamers to pick a horse in the race, kind of. So I guess I was looking back at some of the things that have happened over the years. Like, it used to be, I think it used to be way more prominent back in the day, and as time goes on, we're getting less and less exclusives. Like back in the day, there used to be the Nintendo versus Sega, and Nintendo versus Sony, and all that kind of stuff.
If we're going even further back, I actually wrote this down in my notes so I kind of split my notes into two parts, basically just the good and the bad of each side of the exclusives. Sure. On the good part, one of my arguments was that it prevents oversaturation of the market, which is exactly what led to the video game crash of 1983. Correct. So back then, it was like the Wild West of video games. So you had so many different third-party publishers releasing so many different games, and like a lot of them were unchecked, like crappy quality.
I was gonna say a lot of garbage back then too.
And like there were so many different consoles. Like you had the Atari, like the ColecoVision,
the Intellivision.
Don't
forget that guy.
And they were each kind of doing their own thing. And there was, like I said, there was so many third-party publishers, so the market became oversaturated and eventually led to the crash of video game industry between 1983 and 1985. So that's a good argument for exclusives, because it does prevent those just random third-party publishers just putting out garbage into the gaming industry. So I could see that as an argument for exclusives being a good thing, because it kind of limits the amount of publishers that are out there.
I mean, that's a good reason.
But you still need your indies. You don't want everybody getting...
Exactly.
There's been monopoly talk going around about, is Microsoft buying too many developers? Are they going to, but it is kind of like Monopoly, where, you roll your dice, you go around, you land on a nice green property, and it's Activision Blizzard, and you're like, fuck it, I'm buying it. And then you just, as you stack, like, people get knocked out, and there's less and less publishers, where, we still got, 2K and Ubisoft and EA and, everybody, but it's like I don't know, it's kind of like it's the economy of games.
Well, don't forget Tencent is
where
in this too.
They're big one.
Massive as well. And they bought, they're a Chinese operation, right? And they bought Riot Games. I mean, think about League of Legends and all that stuff, and that's huge. They've been buying up some games too. And this, like it or not, this is the direction of content ownership. And you're just going to have the biggest ones with the biggest wallets, with the biggest fan base or audio, or I won't say fan base, but user base. Because you got to think Netflix and Disney, Hulu, everyone's doing this.
We've already seen it.
This is just
we've seen it with Disney already. Like, Disney's just buying up everybody. They bought
Marvel and Star Wars. You would think they would get one of those, and they end up getting both. They already had Pixar and Disney movies. And then you realize, oh, well, shit, they also own, like, ESPN and Fox, Simpsons.
Yep.
It's just crazy.
They own the rights. They own the rights to fucking Alien. Disney owns the rights to Alien, the Alien franchise. It's insane.
Right.
It's kind of the way things work. I mean, properties are different than, I don't know, consoles where you're selling like a hardware. So, Disney's buying up these IPs and kind of just like pumping out content for them. But like, how do you sell a console without exclusives? Like, the marketing team behind these consoles uses exclusives to sell the hardware, where, you're getting people into your ecosystem, where, Microsoft started their Game Pass, and they're just, now that they're buying up developers, they're just pulling people in because, you're gonna get your WoW players, you're gonna get your Overwatch players that are gonna, like, Overwatch 2 is gonna probably be a Microsoft exclusive at this point.
We've got Game Pass.
Fuck yeah. But as, I don't know, the consolidation of it, you're getting, there's good and bad with this one, where, part of the good that I see in it from this one specifically is Activision Blizzard's horrible work environment and scumbag CEO are probably both going to be, well, the workplace will be improved because Microsoft seems like a more legit, regulated company, and then scumbag Bobby Kotick won't be, pushing out games specifically for money. Like, Microsoft is there to, I think they have a good feel for, IPs and what gamers want.
I think the
like
Xbox brand with Phil Spencer, like, they had to fix the error of their ways, not that they were like bad guys, but they fucked up. They lost a big chunk of users from the 360 era because they came in kind of late on just their first console.
The one from the 360 to the one was.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant. We're like
that one E3 just kind of
right. They did so well with the 360 that when they went to the Xbox One, the PS3 was. I'm sorry, the PS4 was on par, maybe a little bit more powerful.
Dude,
but
Sony
they just had like killer good.
Listen, Sony took their chance, and they went for Microsoft's throat when they. But not only did Xbox fuck up,
and they've been trying to fix this whole thing about like ownership and all that stuff, and always being on and whatever. They had no exclusives, and when they did, they were either for like a niche audience, like Forza. Like, not everybody wants to race. I'm sorry, as fun as Horizon is. They didn't come till later. Maybe, no, they might have been around. But anyways, like, racing isn't for everybody, but I would say that the exclusives that they had, I mean, Xbox One, how many Halos came out? 2, I think.
2, 4, and 5, right?
4 was on 360.
I believe so.
5 and Infinite, bro. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Shit. Okay, damn.
And you would think your flagship should at least have 2, even if it's like a side thing. But like, Gears of War had what? 5 Gears of War 5 Tactic.
There's been a ton of
and then they
those,
did some remakes, and like Master Chief Collection was, like they kind of focused on their history, but they didn't keep pumping out the hits and the hits that they, and then the exclusive that they rolled out, like Encore or whatever, Recore, Sea of Thieves. While it's good now, it didn't come out swinging. It was a kind of it was like, hey, we'll fix this because it's built on community, and they delivered, and it was great. But PlayStation was like, okay, but meanwhile we have Uncharted 4. We've had, they had Last of Us 2. They had God of War,
Spider-Man's, and
Infamous games and all that stuff. I mean, they were just there, and Nintendo's doing the same thing. So it's like, when your console is delivering not just exclusives, and a lot of them, but some of their best work, Xbox is like put in this position where they, like, what do we do? Like the people that we have on our side that are making content just are not doing enough. I think we need to do something else. So they start buying. So that's where we're at today, where they're buying their way through it. And Sony's they're going to retaliate.
Yeah, we glossed over it before. I feel like we're kind of getting to this point with everything that you're saying, is that this was on my good side for exclusives. It drives competition between the console manufacturers, and it forces these companies to innovate with what they're doing. So we see Xbox moving more towards a subscription model with Game Pass, and they're putting all of their exclusives on there day one. We're seeing Nintendo go in a completely opposite direction with innovating with their hardware in general. We see them come out with the Switch. It's a hybrid console, handheld, touchscreen, home console, all in one. So we've seen that before with Nintendo innovating with their hardware because they can't keep up with the technical specs of the other guys.
Don't forget the Wii.
The Wii
kind of blew the roof.
Still the best-selling console ever made, which is insane. So yeah, I feel like exclusives are a good thing in that respect, is that they drive competition. They force these console manufacturers to innovate. And
don't forget the developers too with that too, because if the developers are developing an exclusive game for, we'll say, the Switch or whatever, or the Wii or anything like that, they know they have one system to work with. They don't have to deal with porting it over to Connect or PlayStation Eye or any bullshit like that. They know they have, a specific set of boundaries that they work with and a specific set of hardware that they can work with. I think that's why Uncharted comes out and it looks so fucking good, or Spider-Man, because they know the system in and out. They don't have to try and, deal with different sets of hardware or anything like that. They can just try and make the best experience.
They know the limitations of the hardware. They know exactly what it can do, how powerful it is. And that's, like you said, that's how we see like these games like God of War 2018, the newest one. Like that came out at the tail end of the PlayStation 4 life cycle. And that was pushing it, like, that console to the absolute limit of what it could do technically. And
they know all the tricks,
taking
towards
full
the end
advantage
of the life cycle. They know how to hide loading screens. They know how to, make sure draw distances aren't too far off, shit like that, where you get the little tips and tricks.
So we're talking exclusives, and there's a lot of things that we could talk about beyond video games. But I'll say this. I think, I never really thought about it. As a consumer, you want everything to be available, right? You just want everything to be available. But let's be honest. That's not how the world works, right? Like, Dave, I was joking to you before we recorded that McDonald's has the Big Mac. Burger King has the Whopper. Like, you are your exclusive item or product or service or whatever. Like, that makes sense to me. So I'm okay with Mario only being on Nintendo and God of War only being on, well, now it's on PC, but I don't mind exclusive games coming out exclusively for their console. I think that makes sense. What I don't like is shit where they have exclusive content or DLC. That's not fair. I don't like that at all.
It's all money. It's all dealings with each
some of the best
publisher.
Some of the best games that have ever existed. I'll tell them that makes sense. Like I truly believe that. I think they know what good acting is in a video game. It's a big stickler for me. I don't think video games ever get acting right. And Sony always, their exclusives, especially their top tier games, are well acted. And even though I appreciate that, I do not like that they also own something like Spider-Man. And, not that the Avengers game that came out in 2020, I think it was, not that the game was spectacular, but it's a fantasy game. You want to pretend that you're one of these heroes. So the game promises you a story, a campaign, and it comes out with all these core characters. And then they've been rolling out other characters after that just is more like not really around the main story, because there is a campaign. Iron Man is part of that campaign, Thor and Hulk and stuff like that. Spider-Man is not, because Spider-Man can't just be part of the main story for people on Xbox, right? He's not even coming to Xbox. So all Sony can do is be selfish with Spider-Man and just make him this second tier character, even though, come on, Spider-Man is like going gangbusters right now in the theater at this time of this recording with what is it, No Way Home or whatever. Like, it's just Spider-Man is a very special character to a lot of people. He, like I said earlier in this episode, he's one of the main superheroes. So kids on Xbox who can't afford, or families who can't afford to buy every console, they pick one, they go with one, so they end up with an Xbox. And Sony's like saying fuck you to everybody else that wants to use Spider-Man. It was hard already to have Spider-Man in the Marvel universe, because Sony's like, nope, we bought him when Marvel was like going bankrupt, and they sold us Spider-Man. And like I say, whatever, Sony, like Microsoft made a big move with this acquisition, but it might be scary, but Sony got it coming. Destiny, you did this with Destiny 1 and 2. They had exclusive content. It's just like
it's all publisher deals, dude. Like, we're talking about Sony is like a huge place. PlayStation, anyways, is a huge place for Call of Duty. Like, that is where you see the commercials for Call of Duty, and you have the PlayStation logo at the end of them, like whatever, advertising PlayStation, because they have this whole publisher deal with them. But obviously now, since Microsoft owns Activision and everything and the rights to Call of Duty, that's going to change. So like, it's weird that these publisher deals are always shifting, because like Sony would have exclusive content in stuff like Call of Duty, like you said, Destiny, or like timed content is also, I hate timed.
I don't mind
content.
Like, content. I don't mind that.
But some people,
I think that's just an even bigger slap in the face.
Explain that. Like, what do you mean? Because it doesn't bother me that much.
If Destiny is your game, though, if Destiny's your game and that's what like you and your buddies play, that is the selling point for them pulling you into the Sony ecosystem. They're like the same thing with Spider-Man. If you're a Spider-Man super fan and you just love that shit, like you have one choice. So
I feel like that stuff is probably more for people who, well, this is just my opinion anyways, for people who own multiple consoles. Like, say I own an Xbox and a PlayStation, and I have the option to play Avengers on either one. That Spider-Man exclusive is going to make me want to play on Sony instead of Xbox. You know what I mean? So I don't think they're selling consoles with just that exclusive stuff. I think that's more for people who are like, okay, I have the option to play on either PlayStation or Xbox, and PlayStation's giving me more exclusive content. So I'm going to go over there and give them my money, and, because microtransactions are all rolled into that, so Sony gets a cut of that too. So there's
we've all been asked the question, I think probably 100 million times, because we play a lot of video games. Somebody's aunt or teacher or somebody's like, what console should I get for my kids? And my answer is every single time I'm like, just whatever their friends play on, because that's, they're going to want to play online. They're going to play multiplayer.
How long can you say that?
As crossplay kind of comes in. I know, that's what I'm saying.
Dude, yeah. Crossplay is
creeping in
the next, last couple of years.
Well, if you own a PlayStation, how are you going to crossplay Call of Duty when it doesn't come out on your system anymore? Like, that's where it starts to, like, things are kind of changing a little bit, where it isn't quite always about where your friends are playing or what consoles they have. Like, my brother and all his friends are all PlayStation guys, but I'm over here in Xbox all by myself, just because this is my ecosystem, and that's where all my games are. Like, and Game Pass is kind of the thing where, at this point, somebody asked me that same question. I'm like, would you just get them an Xbox and Game Pass, and then you're done. You don't have to.
But that's because of what I was saying earlier, where Xbox had to rebrand. They really had to kind of look in the mirror and say, like, all right, who are we in the gaming industry? Because we had it. We were playing that traditional way of doing it. You have like a powerful console, you have some good exclusives, and you kind of iterate and maybe like, introduce Xbox Live, party chat, whatever you want to do. Like, you can like throw these cool features of your console that the other ones don't. But all of this is getting blurred, and now it's going to be down to, I think, fucking content. I think,
to your point,
PlayStation's going to have their own Game Pass, right? Like, they're going to have it.
They already got their thing in the works.
Backwards compatibility, they're also doing that too.
To your point, Brandon, the whole Xbox Game Pass and everything, like, they're building up their subscription system, their ecosystem and everything. That was Xbox playing catch up to Sony since they were so behind. And now, since they have caught up, since Game Pass is so big, now they can focus on these exclusives and the exclusives that they're delivering to everybody in their ecosystem, and the things that they're bringing to Game Pass by throwing money at all these huge companies, So, like,
do you think
they're building up their library right now?
Do you think they think about the gamer? Like, do you think Xbox learned their lesson where they thought that they knew what people wanted and they didn't?
Oh,
and they
100%.
Do you think that Phil really gets his, like, listen,
nobody wanted a fucking Xbox to also be their cable box or whatever the fuck they were trying to sell with the Xbox One.
I didn't mind that.
Yeah, I didn't like that, or the other feature where it's like you could have other things, like you could watch a football game while you're playing a video game, like
the Snap. Oh, I wish they brought
I was like,
Snap
it's eating
back.
up
That would be
CPU.
fucking awesome.
I want this game to be smooth. What the fuck?
Dude, I want picture in picture on my Xbox while I'm playing No One Saves the World. I want, a football game tucked away in the corner. I don't mind it. That's great.
I don't.
One thing I see though, sorry, back to this. One of the things like that I see getting scooped out is not really just the studios either. Over the years, things have gotten, back in like the 90s, there was like, there's Midway that makes NBA Jam, and then they go out of business. Somebody buys them and takes their IPs, and they get tucked away. Like, one of my great things coming out of this is that I don't know, like back in
talk about the Sierra
2000
games,
2008 Sierra. There's literally a quote from Bobby Kotick running Activision Blizzard that says Sierra games are cut for not exhibiting a potential to be exploited and released every single year.
Oh wow!
So like they literally just got those IPs and just shelved them because they can't pump out a new Call of Duty every year.
Yeah, that is one of the...
We see Call of Duty is suffering now because of, it's almost like it's oversaturated itself because they have 3 studios and they're literally just churning out Call of Duty.
Wearing themselves too thin. Dude.
But people like stuff. They like that, like, football isn't coming back every fall. People love stuff. Like, people love things to look forward to. That it's like Call of Duty is like that thing. It's like, you're going to get one every year.
One of Activision's like best studios, Vicarious Visions, which was, I think, responsible for like the Tony Hawk remake and all that stuff. They got absorbed into the Call of Duty teams because they needed to bring someone else on to help with Call of Duty. So like they lost that studio completely, but it gives me confidence with this acquisition that they will start to divide out some of those studios again and bring back some of those IPs. Like, Dave, you posted in our Discord a whole list of like dormant IPs that haven't been touched that Activision owns, that they're not doing anything with, that now Xbox owns, and they can do something.
That's why I
them.
was asking. Do you think that Phil and the rest of the leadership understands the gamers now, and they're like, you know what?
I think they do. If there was quotes from Phil,
You think Phil's literally like a giddy kid? He's like, oh my god, let's just bust out, like King's Quest game, more of those, and let's just like dig in. It's like, what else can we find here? Just give people these old IPs. People love nostalgia. People love a good reboot.
Fuck yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. Like, as us gamers get older, like we always want to see those old ones that we played as kids come back, and like just the pile of games that they have at their whim now is kind of insane.
There's a quote from Phil Spencer. He says, I was looking at the IP list, and I mean, let's go. King's Quest, Guitar Hero. I should know this, but I think they got Hexen. So, like,
he's right, yeah. Which so apparently has like a following too. And yeah, there's so many games.
Could you imagine, like, fucking Guitar Hero? Could you imagine them releasing another fucking Guitar Hero on Xbox? Like,
I want my kids to experience it, dude. I know. But see, I'm excited. Oh, yeah. And like, I know there's like, on the business side, that stuff like this, like just like with Disney getting like Star Wars and Marvel, you're on the fence. We're like, woof, really big companies just bought another big company. And there's just so much love and memories and attachment to the content under these publishers and developers and studios. And you're just like, it'll either be good or it'll fuck things up. And
I think having Phil Spencer as the figurehead now at Xbox gives me more confidence, because we know that Phil himself is a gamer. We can see by his actions, he knows what gamers are looking for. Like, he's built up this incredible library on Game Pass and everything. So I have confidence that he will make the right decisions with these IPs, reviving some old, fan favorites that might have been lost to time or whatever else, and giving all of these different studios, branches of Activision Blizzard, the freedom to basically do what they want, which under the umbrella of Activision Blizzard before, it was fucking Call of Duty all the time.
Everything's stifled down and mushed down, but you got to kind of like wonder what's next, because like, how big can Microsoft get before like the monopoly stuff starts coming in? Can they go out and buy Konami and then they just fucking own Castlevania then, or any of the, there's Japanese developers out there, Capcom,
5-10 years from now, Dave, ones. Like, who owns these? Who owns EA? Who owns them? Who owns 2K? Tencent is also there, guys. Don't forget that Tencent's there. Like Nintendo is doing their own thing, and they only sell consoles to sell their games. Everybody knows that. They're like we need Nintendo. We love Nintendo. Nintendo has got their own thing going, but like when it comes to Sony and Xbox, what's the fucking difference, really? Like the controller's a little bit different, but it's like, it's fucking video games. It's usually killing shit, racing shit, whatever, It's not like Nintendo has like Mario Tennis and Mario Kart. Like they have their own
that's why for
universe
Sony and Xbox now, it's more competing with like their ecosystems. Like we're seeing with Game Pass. Like Sony has their Game Pass competitor in the works right now behind the scenes,
I think Xbox just technology, they are smarter because of their Microsoft. Microsoft is also
they have the
like
technology behind them. Right.
They just got a lot of smart people that just work in Microsoft to help.
This is why, like, I had Console Wars twice on my list of good and bad. I think we're talking about a lot of the good stuff about Console Wars because it drives the competition.
Yeah,
we see this repeating cycle.
The fanboy shit is
Microsoft, Xbox. The fanboy shit, is garbage. That's the bad part of exclusives, which it's easy. Well, sometimes it's not easy to ignore that stuff once you see it all over the fucking internet.
I have like my theory. My theory is PlayStation is the king of single player games. Nintendo's in there.
Third person action games are their story driven games are their bread and butter. Sony.
Just the games everybody's like talking about, especially like not every adult can enjoy Mario and Zelda like they can Last of Us or Uncharted or God of War or Spy. You know what I'm saying? Like I think that's just like the age range is just a little bit wider maybe for gamers, especially for Sony.
I think the opposite. I think Nintendo's got the wider thing because they got games for kids all over, and like adults love Mario because we grew up with
mature games though.
No, not at all.
Listen, this is like the analogy is like Sony is HBO producing these like dramatic, artsy pieces, and Nintendo is like Disney. They appeal to kids and adults. Okay. So like, you got these two opposing things.
I like this too. Yeah. But anyways, so my theory is that like, so when you're really good at making single player experiences, especially when it's high fidelity, pushing the limits of a console, good story, good controls, good everything. Journalists like IGN or GameSpot or whoever, or YouTubers, it makes it really easy to review and gush and break down really good single player games. You write it, and you're done. Xbox is really good at multiplayer stuff, right? And that's like been kind of like their thing. They're kind of like the games that you kind of just play over and over again, where it's always been updated, it's always been balanced, they're always adding like new content. So it's like a moving target. So it's hard, I think, for journalists in the game industry to write and gush and praise stuff that Xbox does, because PlayStation's a little bit easier to write about. So I think when it comes to console wars, they're always being fueled because, what, like, look at that, Breath of the Wild was perfect, 99, 100, God of War 100. What does Xbox have? It's just like, yeah, but they have to do a single player game for their consoles, for their exclusives. They also have to do multiplayer. They do DLC. They do balancing. They do patching. I think there's just more on Xbox's plate when it comes to their exclusives. You can't just make Halo. You got to make Halo campaign, but you got to have co-op. You got to have multiplayer. You got to have Forge. A lot of that happens.
I mean, it is like Sony's story.
I'm just saying it's harder to write about.
What single player games? But yeah,
I was gonna say you could see it. You could flip the argument and say you've said it before, Brandon. Like, Sony doesn't have any multiplayer games either. They could be criticized for that as well. Like, they're just focusing on their big, expensive, but they single player story driven games.
They're using third party. They're using third-party stuff to bring in the co-op, so like Call of Duties or Overwatches or shit like that. But if you take that away from them, like literally, that's all they're going to be left with is the single-player stuff. Are you going to bring back Killzone? Like,
no.
What do you?
But do you? You have to, if you're PlayStation,
they're going to have to do something.
You have to be like, yo, what do we have for multiplayer? We have Gran Turismo. What the fuck's going on with that franchise? Like, you lost the baseball game. Like, you had, they had like the show, right? And then that was on Xbox, and God of War is now on PC. So I would be very careful if I'm Sony, because this is where you're strong, is your single player games, and you have to look at your multiplayer offerings now and say, hey, maybe Killzone becomes part of our DNA. Maybe people say, hey, you want a really good shooter? Killzone's one of those games. There's no reason why it can't be.
Well, someone else is going to have to make it, because Guerrilla's busy with Horizon now.
I was thinking about not even the big games, but even like the indies. Like, Nintendo's got this nice little sweet spot for the indies, because their console is kind of perfect for
Game Pass is also really
smaller bite size. Yeah, absolutely. But Nintendo's got exclusives though that like you can't play Golf Story on Xbox. You can't play.
True.
Into the Breach.
Dude, I could play Dodgeball literally, Academy or Academia or whatever it is.
Literally the only thing, so I mean, I have a PS5 and I have a Series X and I have a Switch, whatever. My Switch is, it's its own thing, but I barely touch my PS5 these days, and the only thing I'm waiting for is those big exclusives for PlayStation come out with. So like this year we're gonna have the next Horizon Zero Dawn game. We're gonna have the next God of War. But in the meantime, I'm not really touching my PlayStation all that much. I'm gravitating way more to Xbox these days because of Game Pass. Like, it's
why I haven't
purely
PlayStation hasn't given me enough reason to like pull myself away from. Like, now I'm just thoroughly in the Xbox ecosystem. I've got a Switch now, so I can kind of hit up those Marios. I can get those exclusives over there. But, like, other than God of War and Spider-Man, like, PlayStation has nothing to draw me in.
My only thing is that, like, those God of Wars, those Spider-Mans, they're literally some of my favorite games that I've ever played.
How many times do you play them? How many times you bust out that game and play it?
Well, the first experience was the best experience, that you could have with that game. I have thought about going back to God of War because it does have that like PS5 patch now, but it's hard for me to go back to old games because there's so many new games to play.
Right.
So
if you're Xbox,
so many things coming out,
and all you have is multiplayer games, like you're not going to sit around and wait for that price drop to happen. You're not gonna be like, like Last of Us 2 is still gonna be Last of Us 2 in 5 fucking years or 2 years or whatever. Like I don't have to spend $60. I'll get it for $30, right? Or it's on sale or whatever, and it's like for whatever. I mean, like that's gonna happen. But with Xbox, if your bread and butter is a multiplayer, you don't have that luxury of waiting around. So your incentive is to get Game Pass because you get those sweet exclusives on Game Pass, or you buy the game full out, right? So you don't miss the chance where like, hey, everybody, like Halo 5's pretty good. And you're like, Halo 5? Halo Infinite's out now. You're going to play what's everybody else is playing if you like multiplayer. So I think
Dude, can I tell you,
it's just that's the risky thing is even people can just wait to buy it when it's cheaper. And it's just
there's just so much like Microsoft has gotten their developers and they've kind of incorporated everybody in so nicely now that they can spread out all of their releases. So like the monetary value of Game Pass just, skyrockets until, they raise the price.
I was going to say, there has to be a tipping point where they increase the price.
But just even this week, there was 6 games put out on Game Pass.
I think that's what's
4 of them I wanted
to
play.
It's like the dollar menu at McDonald's or Wendy's or whatever. It's like it's like $1. It was $1 for a long ass time. I think it's finally like $1.40 gets you like 2 burgers or something like that. It's just, but it's like Netflix keeps raising their price. They just did it again. They keep raising their price. And Disney started low. I think they did it once. But like you're only going to go so far if Peacock and Paramount and who else is doing it? HBO and
too many different streaming services.
If you're paying for Game Pass and you're paying for Apple Music or Spotify and Netflix and Hulu, like people are gonna say, you know what? I'm sure you get like one thing in there. Maybe I'll spend the month, like just spend the money for a month, and I'll binge that show, and then I'm out. But that's the risk where if there's too many. So I'm thinking in the future. We can't go this way, especially when you're talking about video games. But like maybe with the streaming shows, we need to chill out. Like we can't have that many. But like. Does Sony, with the technology going the way it is, guys, we're getting really close. We're not there yet. It's not going to happen next year. But streaming 4K, 60 frames a second with no lag through your controller and a TV, and that's all you need.
Give it 10. Give it 10 for that.
But I'm saying that, but Sony is not just looking at the next 2 years right now. They got to be looking at like, what's their future? Like what's going on 5, 10, 15, 20 years? Microsoft is loaded. And I'm just saying that like once the console's gone and everything is just down to a controller, because like the PlayStation controller and Xbox controller are shaped different.
True. Get out.
The console is going to be the controller.
Business.
Yeah, you're just gonna have a controller like your iPhone or your Android or whatever. You're just gonna
dongle into your HDMI port and
the new controller came out and you just upgrade your controller. So I'm just saying that in the future, it's gonna be Game Pass. It's gonna be Xbox is gonna have this Game Pass, and I think PlayStation is gonna have their Game Pass equivalent, and Nintendo's gonna have their Nintendo Pass. I think the future is gonna be down to a controller and your subscription. It's just like your iPhone. It has a subscription. It has Verizon or AT&T or whatever, but it's going to have its exclusive content, GarageBand, Notes, Safari, whatever. I think that's where the video game console is going to go. So what do you do when everything's going subscription based? EA's got to go somewhere. It's either they make their own fucking console.
They're going to get gobbled up in the next 5 to 10 years too. So
that's where I think a lot of things are going. I think when people looked at Disney when they came with their streaming platform, they were like, well, that makes sense. It's just going to be Disney movies and Pixar and Star Wars and Marvel and stuff like that. But I think what Disney did is like we've been over the decades making top tier content that kids and parents love. And you can't just make content for just one group. Even if it's like a group that treats you very well, that group is going to get older and have kids. So you have to enjoy the content and your kids have to enjoy the content. And I think when you look at Disney, the only thing that they're missing is adult content. Other than that, they've got everything else. And maybe like, live comedy, stand up and stuff like that. But I think that Disney really evolved the subscription streaming.
If you go out on the internet, there's some Disney adult content out there. Don't worry.
Oh, is there?
No.
Not
that kind. All right, I'm such an idiot. I'm right into that.
It's the internet.
You know what I'm saying?
But okay,
Netflix is like, great, we got to make our own movie. But like, how many OG Netflix shows are great? Like, great. Like,
dude,
5 years.
We're seeing it. We're seeing it now with like you said, the streaming services. There is almost an oversaturation because how many different streaming services can you pay for to watch one show that's you're interested
worthy.
on there?
Yeah, exactly,
dude. Yeah, because like the fucking the Halo show is coming out on Paramount Plus. I'm not gonna pay for a subscription.
It
to
kills
Paramount
me.
Plus.
I know. I'm gonna do a 2 fucking week trial of that shit.
Exactly.
I'm gonna leave.
I'm gonna watch the Halo show and get the fuck out of there because I don't give a shit about Paramount Plus.
So
Disney has everything else you would need. It has stuff for kids and it has stuff for adults. Like, we're giddy as hell that tomorrow another Boba Fett episode is going to drop. We know that there's Kenobi coming. We have Marvel and Star Wars content just ready forever for movies and TV shows. We're good. Netflix is like hit or miss. They had Squid
because
Game.
They're missing their exclusives, is what you're saying.
They have their exclusives, but they're just not.
They're not
good.
big.
Yeah. They have Stranger Things. They have they have like Ozark, a couple other
Bridgerton or one of those shows, or I don't know what that's on. But.
Yeah, and they're slowly shuffling out their third party content and focusing on their first party, whatever Netflix made content, which isn't all that great from what I've seen, anyways.
So Netflix needs some IP. Netflix needs to go buy some IPs, is what you're saying.
I think Netflix is Facebook. Oh, no, sorry, MySpace. I think they were like the first one to really kind of do it right and get it really big and prove it to a lot of people. And I think that they are.
Yeah, they were the innovator.
They're shrinking too.
They're good.
I think they're in a lot of debt and
they pump out a lot of stand-up specials over at Netflix too. Which
but how hard is that? Like, how many you watch a stand-up and then you're done.
It's not.
You don't rewatch it.
They're the ones that are paying to get them though. So I mean,
true.
I mean, in the long run, I think we're kind of discussed this for a while, but exclusives in general help produce the highest quality output a lot of the times.
Yeah, but we can't have too many options.
We can't have too many options. I think we're in a good spot where we are.
We're in a great spot
because we have Nintendo
Sony, and Xbox.
We have Nintendo for like the innovation, weird stuff, kid stuff, whatever. We have Sony for like the premiere, like HBO style storytelling, third person action, and then we have Xbox for the multiplayer and fucking Game Pass. Like, we're in a good spot, and like, if you're like me and own all 3 consoles, you're golden, dude. Like,
what happens?
You got all the games you could ever play.
What happens when I'm assuming this isn't gonna stop here. Somebody's gonna in a year, in a couple months, PlayStation buys Ubisoft, and now you only get Assassin's Creed over on Xbox or on PlayStation, I should say, stuff like that. Is it helping or is it hurting the end user on our end? Because we have to go out and buy.
It depends.
I love Assassin's Creed. I have to go out and buy a $500 machine just so I can play a $60 game.
It depends. Like you said, if it gets too small, I think we're in like the sweet spot right now. If they start buying up, too many, it's gonna, and it's not gonna be, I don't know, it's not gonna be good. Because like
you got Konami over here, they're making pachinko machines.
Yeah, you got Konami.
They don't even give a shit. They're playing fucking bowling in left field over here. They don't know what's going on. They're they're just sitting on these IPs, and it's only going to last for so long until somebody comes in. But I mean, you've got the big Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo. You've got 2K games. You've got Ubisoft, Capcom.
Yeah.
You've got Steam for PC players.
Dude, Sony
PC
will probably
players,
fucking buy Capcom. I could see that happening because
they're already in
Street
bed with
Fighter. Street Fighter is kind of huge on their consoles, so
yeah, it's Japanese,
and they're both
studios
Japanese.
and,
yeah,
I
don't know.
It makes sense, and I don't want anything to happen to Sony. Like, even though I've mostly been an Xbox guy for the last 20 years, you know, like I just invested in an Xbox and it paid off finally. But it was a rough few years where like we just had no exclusives and kind of like, all right, great. But I want Sony to do well because I think Sony has, remember Sony in the 90s? Maybe Eric doesn't, but like Dave, I mean, when Sony came out, man, it was like,
it was mind-blowing.
I don't know. It was like
discs.
Microsoft. It's just like, what are you doing making a console? Yeah, and it's just they had amazing.
There was all sorts
games.
of weird shit going on back there where you could burn discs and play with the console open and all sorts of, That was kind of the Wild West when they started getting into the game, because part of the reason why games were made on cartridges for so long is to prevent, copyright theft or people duplicating games, and then PlayStation comes in and all sorts of wacky hilarity and
well, you know how like Nintendo and Sega kind of tried to like do other things outside of games, they tried to do like CD and stuff like that, and it was just weird, right? And then Sony's like, well, you know how we make TVs? Well, we kind of get entertainment outside of like, we'll help make games, and we have this PlayStation console, which is almost a Nintendo console, which is crazy. But Nintendo passed on it, and Sony's like, we'll just make the damn thing. And you can look it up and see what it looked like, the Nintendo PlayStation. But so the Sony PlayStation comes out, but Sony's also, by the way, you can put movies in here and watch, like, you can play music. I think you could play DVDs, right? And
the PS2.
That
was what the PS2
yeah, but I'm just saying that
for.
It was like Sony was the first one, I think, more or less to say, hey, we could do other things besides games, or like entertainment. And these new kids on the block, then you got like Xbox, they're doing the same thing, and they just innovate more so than I think Nintendo and Sega did. And Sega, they died off and they just became like a publisher. But Nintendo, they get the Wii and they said, hey, let's just be so different from the other guys and something. Like, we can't keep up with this technology. I remember, was it the GameCube had like mini discs?
Yeah, man.
It was weird. What was the point of that?
The GameCube had those tiny little, it was a little purple lunchbox.
I love the tiny discs. Yeah.
It had a little handle on the back of it so you could carry it down the street. I don't know what you're doing with it, but.
Yeah, I don't know. I was like 18 or 19 when that stuff came out. I was just like, I can't be seen playing on that. I need a PS2 or an Xbox.
I need a man's console.
Yeah, I need games like Metal Gear Solid, like stuff like that. Halo, Dead or Alive, I just wanted to, whatever. I was a dude when I was like 18. That's what appealed to me. But we need Nintendo to do Nintendo stuff. We need Sony to just do what they're good at and maybe figure out maybe something online. But everybody should buckle up. I think we're going to see a great buying of the lands.
The only question,
everybody's getting divvied up, cut up like a cake.
Yeah, the United States is going to be formed. The Wild West is over, and just.
The only question in my mind, we brought up before, is like, where does it stop? These acquisitions and everything.
Well, it'll never stop.
Well, that's the scary thing about it. Like, if we're just left with, Xbox, Sony, and Nintendo, and they own everything, like, I don't know, that kind of stifles innovation and creativity. I think they'll always be like indie studios hanging around in the background. Against each other.
Like who's gonna make the next Amico, or who's gonna make the next Ouya or shit like that. Like
Amazon, guys, Apple, Amazon,
Listen,
they still exist. Like Stadia is still there, Apple Arcade is still there, like Tencent is still there. I mean, there is competition.
I think this acquisition can either be, it's exciting right now, but I think it is a little bit scary to know that Xbox has the power just to drop that kind of money on this huge company and just overtake them just like that overnight. Like it's insane to me. And
do you guys like what Disney has done with Marvel and Star Wars?
For the most part.
Well, yeah, because I mean, it's not the quality of the content; it's the amount of content that's getting put out these days. I mean, not everything is great, and not everything is horrible. Everybody has their different feelings about Boba. Or
here's my
Wars
question.
Shit like that.
Here's my question: would you rather have a lot of content or not a lot of content at middling quality, or not as much at higher quality? Because I feel like that's where we could be going.
They even got those new movies were shit. Like
exactly, we're seeing it a little bit with huge franchises like Star Wars. Like Episode 9 was hot garbage. Like we maybe didn't need the next sequel trilogy or whatever it was, but since Disney owned the IP, they decided to make.
Yeah, but I'm glad those movies exist. See, I can always just not watch them. Like that's the power we all have. It's like you can make as much as you want, but as soon as I love content, pump it out if it's good. But once it's bad, we have the power to not watch it. Nobody's putting a gun to our head and say you have to watch Mandalorian season 5.
Well, what are we left with?
Like without Disney, you don't get Star Wars Visions, you don't get the Book of Boba Fett, you don't get the Mandalorian. Like none of that comes out if Disney doesn't scoop that up and start pumping out stuff. We're waiting for George Lucas to, roll out of bed.
That's like Disney's smart because they bought worlds. They didn't just buy like an idea. Like, all right, here, this game or this movie had like one hit. Let's just buy it.
Just buy Sony just buying Spider-Man. Just buy the whole fucking thing, and like
it makes
Sony.
sense.
Sony could be Disney right now if they just scooped up all of Marvel back then.
Well, somebody should buy DC. Like who? I don't know. Was it Warner Brothers? Maybe that might.
I believe
DC?
so. Yeah.
But all right, so then Warner Brothers could be bought or something like that, and who knows? I mean, this is the thing that people who own the big worlds that people love to be in. It's like Lord of the Rings. Did Amazon buy it because they got the TV show?
It
used to be Warner Brothers, but now
I think they just got the rights for the show, but I don't think they actually.
Eventually, somebody's going to buy that shit up. But I think the way things are going is really good worlds are going to get scooped up. Those are the DCs, the Marvels, the Star Wars, the Star Trek.
It's all about the IPs, yeah.
Disney's smart though. That's what I said. It's a big deal when they entered the streaming world. They didn't just own a hit show here and there and they just pumped them out. They pump out content within a world that people adore. People are very excited right now. They could bitch about the movies, but these TV shows are getting us Ahsoka and Kenobi soon, and it's just this is just.
I'm fine with the content. I'm fine with the content, like you said, as long as it's good and it doesn't, I don't want them to just be. Sometimes it can feel like it's a cash grab, like
Activision pumping out Call of Duties every year.
Exactly.
That you love.
They don't care about the quality.
You buy them every year.
I do. Because that's what all my friends. That's what my friends are playing. Everybody's
Dave's
playing
conditioned to buy Call of Duty.
I broke out of the Madden cycle of buying that every year because it's the same fucking game every year. Buying NHL every single year. It's just FIFA, same thing. Dude. Sports games are in a rough spot.
Just upgrade it. Just give us a patch.
As long as it,
everybody else does.
They got to sell a new $60.
They have to be on that 1 year cycle, so they got to keep pumping them out.
They
can't take a year off.
They need the money coming in. They're used, you got to, especially with a publicly traded company, because they're all focused on
all they care about is money.
Yeah.
The investors don't give a shit about the games.
They'll lay off.
They say, show me where the money is.
They'll lay off whoever the fuck they want, give the CEO a $30 million bonus, and, go on their merry way. But you best believe that, all these IPs that Microsoft just scooped up, hopefully, I don't know, you just take all the studios that Activision basically had stifled away and all the IPs that they had tucked away, and you give them to Xbox, who's just going to start, I don't know who really gives a shit if they put out another Candy Crush, but like you said, Geometry Wars, Guitar Hero, if they put out goddamn Space Quest game, I will be, one of the first people in line to scoop that shit up. So I think it is more about the IPs.
Crossovers, dude. I mean,
Sure.
Nintendo has Smash Brothers, right? And that's an easy one. We could do other ways of crossover. I'm just saying that, what's stopping Gears of War characters with Master Chief and now Call of Duty,
It's
or whatever.
That sweet Nintendo commingling where Donkey Kong's in Mario
Call of Duty's
going
to have
like
a warthog now.
Oh,
How could it not?
Yeah, absolutely.
And people would be like, "Oh my fucking god, yeah!" It's just enough. That's all we need. It's just like, how about Call of Duty, Halo, whatever? And it's just like, okay, what's up with that? And it's just a crossover. You can do that with exclusives. When you own it, you can put Spider-Man and anything you want on Sony's side if you want, right? You could. Why can't you? Nintendo does it. They put so many of their characters in their people eat it up. Mario Kart, Mario Tennis, or Mario Golf, or Smash Brothers, because people are with Nintendo because they love the worlds they built, they love the characters, and they have nostalgia. Again, Disney, same thing. People have nostalgia, love characters, movies, they love Marvel. They bought worlds. Nintendo made their world, and they've been doing it for a long time. Sony should be doing this. Xbox is buying their way through it. And now they have the world of Elder Scrolls. They already had Halo. There's no world for Forza. And I don't know what you can do with Gears of War. They just keep doing the same thing over and over again. But you know what I'm saying? That, like, I think this is where things are going to go. You're just going to build your worlds. And just let people just get the parts of the worlds that they want. I don't like the movies, but damn, that Mandalorian show was great.
Sure. One thing I could see from coming from this is as like the companies get bought up to people that may have started those companies going out and starting up new companies. Like you saw the guys that left Activision and went and started Respawn. And they, started putting out some fucking bangers over there. Like, Respawn came from, companies getting acquired or people stepping down from roles.
It's a great point.
Somebody else is going to step out and make a new company, basically, they have ideas for games. Maybe Microsoft doesn't want it. Maybe they're going to put it out on Steam first. And, it picks up enough steam and, you port it over to whatever you want. So, I mean, it's a double-edged sword. I don't think there's a concrete answer because
it's just a fine balance,
good or bad. Like it's tough because you don't want it to be too exclusive, but you don't want there to be too many exclusives, but you want them to be supported well enough to make high quality output.
There has to be a balance. There has to be a balance to drive the competition, to drive the innovation, and yeah. Like I said, there's no easy answer to the question of whether exclusives are a good thing or bad thing. Based on our conversations, I feel like we're leaning more towards they're a good thing for the gaming industry.
Just don't have too many platforms for the good content to be on.
Right.
And really we're talking about.
Like I said before, I think we're in kind of a sweet spot right now. And we have been for quite a while anyways with like the three console manufacturers. We've had the big three, Sony, Nintendo, Microsoft.
Last 20 years or something, yeah.
Yep. So it just depends, where the future goes, like who's going to buy who and everything.
Except for those poor people who can't get a PlayStation 5 when God of War comes out and
it's true.
Can't shell up the $500 for... Or do you just play on PC? I don't even know if that comes out to PC right away. Like, is that
supply chain issues are a whole nother thing?
Well, and something like that. I mean, we kind of didn't talk about PC players at all here today, and I feel like they're kind of got their hoity-toity stick up their butt, like PC Master Race, blah 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 stuff. But guess what, assholes? You don't get to play Nintendo stuff. You don't get to. You're just getting to get to play God of War after it came out 3-4 years ago.
Don't they get Halo games 8 years after, hey, we got Halo 4 now? It's like, what?
Well, not everything. Microsoft's got everything coming out everywhere now.
Yeah, Microsoft, they're on PC. But so
the crossplay, with PlayStation actually releasing PC games, if they release God of War for PC, what's stopping me from buying that on Windows Store, Steam, casting it to my TV, and then Bluetoothing my Xbox controller, stuff like that. So,
I mean, that's smart of Sony to do because they were just leaving money on the table there. Why not release it to PC?
So many other people that you're missing out on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think if you're exclusive,
what's the point of gatekeeping? People from playing and experiencing your game. when you can easily release it on another platform.
It's crazy because I bought, like I've said this before, but I bought like God of War for $15 or $20, and I got like Spider-Man for $15 or $20. These are excellent games, and I can only play them on a PS4 at the time.
I know where this is going.
Of this recording. And Nintendo.
I know where this is going.
But fucking Nintendo's like,
listen,
like they sell, dude.
Listen,
Dave and I
love
Nintendo
Nintendo
games, and they sell. They're good at selling their games. I'm not gonna, but like they don't ever drop the price of their games. I'm just saying that it makes sense for Sony to be like, well, everybody that was gonna buy the game bought the game, and anybody that didn't buy the game because of price, they bought it for $15 on the PS4. Let's upgrade it for PS5. Maybe we'll get people to play it again and spend a little bit more money because they do those silly upgrades, charges, or something like that. But why don't we put it on the PC? Because there's an audience there. We can't go to Xbox, and Nintendo can't play it. So it makes sense to go to the PC. But Nintendo's just going to do what Nintendo does.
Listen, you guys know.
Do
what they do.
And everybody listening knows I'm a Nintendo lover and a defender. But I did have this on my bad list as a point for exclusives, is publishers taking advantage of gamers, and Nintendo is the prime example of that with exclusives.
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe came out on the Wii, and then they put the word Deluxe on there, and it's like, right?
Nintendo
and the
Nintendo
Wii U.
knows,
it's $60.
Nintendo knows full well that people on Nintendo platforms will buy their games because they're literally the only place that you can play them. So why not sell them for $60? And that is taking advantage of people and their wallets, like Nintendo, if you see a Breath of the Wild on sale for $40, that's like a steal,
It is a steal, dude. That sounds so stupid because, come on, right? I just saw the last Assassin's Creed Valhalla was like $20 right now on sale. I'm like, $20 for that game probably is worth it because you get so much content.
Couple 100 hours there.
Yeah,
like that.
I love Nintendo, but some of their business practices and decisions are either stupid or just like shady and unfair. So I love Nintendo. I love their games, but I don't approve of a lot of their business practices.
All right. Well, do you guys have anything else before we go and start wrapping this up? I know it kind of spiraled out of control, and we were
all over the place.
Touched a lot of bases, everywhere.
But especially me, but whatever.
It happens. I think we gave a good, well-rounded viewpoint. But yeah, if we're good here, we can take a quick break. Go let off some steam, and we're gonna come back with a game hosted by yours truly.
Damn,
I gotta know.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Hosting the episode and the game.
We're pulling double duty today.
Pulling double duty.
We will we'll come back with a game shortly, right after this. And we are back for Act 3 with a little game for the boys. I came up with this one based off of a lot of the stuff we talked about today. It's a little game called Name That Number.
Okay. I'm
going to give you guys a number and a series of choices. We're going to play 5 questions. You guys can both guess at the same... We'll alternate who guesses first, but... You guys will both pick an answer which you think aligns with the number I give you, and we'll score based off of that.
Interesting.
Whoa. Okay.
Let's grab a little piece of paper here. We'll be all set to go, so I can keep score. Brandon and Eric, are you ready? Let's.
I don't know if I'm ready. I mean, you guys just told me that I'm on a losing streak.
I'm trying to psych you out.
I haven't paid attention to my performance in
mental
these
game.
games.
Picking a number between 1 and 10. Eric, what is it?
Lucky number 7.
Brandon?
6.
It was 7.
Yeah, baby.
All right. So I'm going to name a number, and you're going to tell me which of these 3 this number corresponds with.
Oh.
And then Brandon will give his answer, and then we will score accordingly. So
Okay.
the first number is a big one. It is 7.55 billion.
Okay.
It is either the amount that Sony stocks dropped 24 hours after the Xbox deal. It is the retail revenue of US games in December of 21. Or it is the number of PlayStation 2 consoles sold over its lifetime.
Like all PlayStation.
Ooh.
So we have the amount that Sony stocks dropped. We have retail revenue of video games December of 21, and we have the number of PlayStation 2 consoles sold lifetime.
I'm gonna go with A. The Sony stock drop.
All right, Brandon.
Yeah, I was going to go with A as well.
A. Sony prices dropped that much. A little anticlimactic, as you guys are both wrong.
Oh,
Darn.
It's B.
It's
Got to be B because PS2 sold way more than that.
21. No, PlayStation. This is billions.
Yeah,
billions. Oh, billions. Okay.
Yeah, when he said billions, like, no console
way less
sold
than that.
a
Okay.
billion.
Yeah.
Way less.
That was kind of facetious.
That's right.
There.
Yep.
Because there are so many PlayStation 2s, but
so what was it?
That is the U.S. retail revenue in just the month of December of 21.
Oh wow.
That's all consoles, that's mobiles wrapped in there. There's a lot of stuff going
Sure.
on.
All
yeah.
video game
Sony's
revenue?
a big ass
Wow.
country.
Okay.
So,
company.
Cool.
0.0 is where we're at. Brandon, you will get question number 2. This number is a little smaller. This is 13.5 million. This is the number of copies of Super Mario Bros. 3 sold. The number of Atari 2600 consoles sold. Or the number of Wii U consoles sold. 13.5 million.
I'm sorry, what was the first one?
Number of copies of Super Mario Bros. 3 sold.
I'm going to go with B.
And then we have the Atari 2600.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Eric, would you like to wager a guess here?
Ooh, this is tough. I'm torn.
13.5 million is a lot of anything. Doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
All right, I'll go with A. Super Mario Bros. 3.
Super Mario Bros. 3. All right. Make a note here. And the correct answer, 13.5 million Wii U consoles sold over its
I was
lifetime.
so debating. I was between A and C.
The Super
That's
Mario Bros. 3
it?
sold 17.2 million.
I knew it was close to that.
Atari 2600 sold 30 million.
Wow.
Huh.
So again,
Wow.
we're still at 0-0.
No.
You guys are trying to name that number, and
We're not doing it.
it's a little more difficult than I thought. Maybe I should have put
Tie 0-0.
Right.
should put a couple more facetious ones in here, but this one's a little different. All right, question 3, 0-0. This is a percentage, Eric.
Okay.
The percentage is 45%. Okay,
Got it.
this is the percentage of the gaming industry's overall revenue claimed by mobile in 2021.
Ooh.
This is the percentage of gamers that are female in the U.S.
Ooh.
or percentage of gamers that are adults. 45%, almost half.
I'm gonna. I don't know. I'm gonna go with B. Female
Female gamers. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. What was the first one again?
Percentage of the gaming industry revenue claimed by mobile in 2021.
Yeah, Eric, right? B. I mean, I know that the almost half of the gamers are women. I know it leans more men, but a big chunk of women are mobile gamers. So I think A, that number would be extremely high. I think mobile activity is actually very big, but it's because of the casual gamer. So I'm going to go with B.
You both are correct.
Yes.
45% of gamers in the U.S. are female.
That was my logic. That was my logic too. I figured mobile had to be way higher than.
Yeah, what is
45%.
mobile's number? Do you know it offhand or no?
Hold on a second.
Well, I'm just thinking because the casual gamer is going to be on the mobile device because everybody has a phone. So just give them like paper. I don't know.
You know those moms are pouring money into Candy Crushes and.
Yeah, silly stuff like that, and that's how.
I don't remember which side I grabbed this number from. I don't have it offhand.
Whatever.
Sorry. Cut it out.
I'll be able to sleep tonight.
I need to know.
At least we got one answer right in. All right. Question number 4. The number is 32. Nice, round, even 32. This is the number of Sim 4 expansion packs.
Good.
This is the number of Xbox Game Studios after the merger with Activision Blizzard, or the number of consoles Nintendo has released, handheld and home.
34 is the number?
32.
32?
Sim 4 expansion packs, number of Xbox Game Studios after the acquisition, or the number of Nintendo consoles, the consoles that Nintendo has released. Both home and handheld.
Come on, Nintendo could not have had that many consoles.
I bet I could name them all.
Dave, what was? Well,
you'd be surprised.
Wait, hold on a second. I'm actually thinking about this.
I know.
3DS. There's like three of those.
There's a bunch of iterations. Yep, of the 3DS and DS.
Super Nintendo, VR, Game Boy. How many? Advanced Game Boy.
All right, pick your fucking answer.
What was the second one?
Second one was number of Xbox Studios after the acquisition.
Yeah, after. I will go with because it's. We talked a lot about studios and consoles. I'll go with B.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with A. That sounds right to me. I feel like Xbox Studios is way more than 32, and I feel like Nintendo consoles is a little bit less than that. So I'm gonna go with A. I know there's a ton of fucking expansion packs for.
Yeah, right. I feel like there's probably like 100.
There really are. The correct answer is B. The number of game studios after.
Okay.
I thought that would be way more than that.
Currently at 23. And this will put them up to 32.
Damn.
Okay. Nintendo, surprisingly, has put out 38 consoles.
Holy shit. Okay.
More than 32?
That's crazy. I thought it would be like, 28 or something.
Are you including like the Japanese ones too? Because they have like...
There's the Famicom and
Famicom, yeah. Instead
of they have some weird ones in there. There's like a Panasonic
Super
Q1
Famicom.
that only sold like a handful of them. But then you get into like the DS, the DS Lite, the DSi, the DSi XL, and it just
the
3DS XL, new 3DS XL
or whatever.
Starts snowballing from there. Okay. So
damn,
we have Brandon with 2, Eric with 1, going into our final question. This is our tiebreaker. Well, our final
tiebreaker.
Yeah, we're ain't breaking any ties yet.
If I get this one,
taking the lead.
If I get this one, it will be a tiebreaker after this.
This number is a big boy. This is 40.5 billion.
Oh boy!
And this one's a little more straightforward.
Billion.
This is countries / markets by game revenues. Okay.
What?
If these countries in their game revenues.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Top 10 game markets in the world ranked on their revenue estimates for 2021. There's China, there's the United States, and there is Japan.
Oh boy.
Which country pulled in $40.5 billion?
And this was for what period of time? 2021. Okay. Billion. Okay. $45 billion. Oh boy.
40.5.
40.5. Okay.
This is from the great website Newzoo, which I have never heard before.
Sounds credible.
Yep. Who knows if any of these numbers that I'm saying are credible or not, but this is, I found them on the internet, and this is what we're going with.
All right. I'll just have to go with good old-fashioned US of A. Put the faith in my country to get this answer correct.
Brandon?
So, I want to say C, but what if I get it wrong?
Japan.
Then I don't win, and then Eric...
That's a tiebreaker.
Wins? But I could double down on what Eric's doing and
don't be a dick. Don't get the win by default.
So
go with what you think it is.
Well, that's not the rule. That's the and you're being punished for winning the
lame
roll
win
in the beginning because you make the first move.
That's the lame win. That's the cheater's way out. But
oh my goodness!
Do what you're gonna do.
All right, no.
He's on a losing streak.
No, nobody sees this, but Eric is literally crying right now, and I can see him wiping the tears away.
Please don't do this.
I'm going to go with C. I want to say Japan.
Japan is incorrect.
Damn.
In order, China was at 46 billion. The United States was at 40.5. The correct answer.
Japan was only over.
Tiebreaker. Listen,
22, Brandon.
It makes it interesting. Going to a tiebreaker.
Oh my god.
All right, give me just a second.
What was Japan's number?
22.
Okay. I knew they would be the smaller one, but
22. I mean, population density. I mean, you got to take that into account. Of course. But it's also more ingrained, I think, in the culture as a whole. So, who knows? All right. Well, let me pull up this tiebreaker. And let me just
Brandon's going to be so pissed if he loses.
I'm so annoyed. I'm mad at myself, not you guys. Me. I should have just stayed with fucking A. I thought that was a smart move. God damn it, Brandon. Let Eric get to you.
It's a mind game. It's a mind game.
All right. Well, who's got the last question? Who's got the first answer? Brandon here?
Brandon does,
yeah,
yep.
It's me.
All right. These are all exclusives. Which one of these exclusives sold 37 million copies?
Ooh.
Is it Wii Fit? Is it Mario Kart Wii? Or is it Super Mario Galaxy?
Oh, shit.
Wii Fit, Super Mario... I'm sorry, what was the second one?
Wii Fit, Mario Kart Wii, or Super Mario Galaxy. These are all Wii games, by the way.
Yeah. 35 mil?
It is 37 million.
37 million? A Wii Fit.
Wii Fit for Brandon. Eric. Would you like to guess or would you like to pass?
I am not passing.
Pass? Man, Brandon, you got -1 now.
I quit.
37 million is a lot for a single game. So this had to be a pretty damn popular one. I'm gonna go with Mario.
I think all three of these were quite popular.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with Mario Kart Wii.
That's what I was either that or yeah.
The correct answer is Mario Kart Wii.
Yes! Oh my God. Fucking game.
Eric with the comeback. Wii Fit sold 22.6 million.
Okay.
And Super Mario Galaxy, I don't know how, only sold 12.8 million.
I was gonna say, I think Galaxy was a little bit less. I figured Wii Fit would be less because the balance board as well. You had to, there's that point of entry there. You needed the balance.
I just
board.
remember Wii Fit
true.
just being like fucking all people talked about for like a while. And I was like, man,
You
Wii
can
Sports
work out and
Wii
play
Fit.
video games? What?
Yeah. It was like so popular. And I was just like, all right, it's probably that.
Well, so thank you for
It's either
playing.
or. I don't fucking know. It's a fucking guessing game at that point.
Yeah,
It's true.
well, congratulations. That was Name That Number. Congratulations, Eric. You're going to space camp. Do you have any? Would you like to give us a quick plug on social, real quick, before we punch out of here?
Absolutely. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Nomads of Fantasy. You can find us on TikTok at The Nomads of Fantasy. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We're on pretty much everything. And you
Don't
can
forget
email
TikTok.
us. I said the TikToks.
Okay.
And you can email us at nomadsoffantasy@gmail.com, and also visit our amazing website designed by Brandon himself at thenomadsoffantasy.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining me today, guys. It's really been a pleasure hosting this. I really feel like I'm coming out of my cocoon, like a butterfly emerging. But do you guys have any parting words?
No, man, I think we win. I think we win at the end of all this, you know? Like, there's still so much good content. And there's a lot of good content in the past. So if you don't like the stuff that's out now, I mean, you still got a lot of good stuff to probably go through in the past. I mean, I don't know. I've been watching, you know, here and there, like, movies from the 40s. It's weird, but I do. And the 50s. And there's just a lot of good stuff out there. So just know that whatever's going on with exclusives and people buying shit up, I think we win because we're just making good stuff, and we always have been. I think there's just a lot of content out there, so just find it, enjoy
Make
it.
more good games. Yay!
Yep. I'm looking forward to the future of the gaming industry. Dave, you did a great job hosting and with the game. Brandon, you suck. I won. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, you mind fucking
All right.
bullshit move, man.
Safe travels, Nomads.
That was great. Now
Before
I have a revenge story in this fucking show.
Nah. Before we chug out, I just want to plug next episode too. We'll be taking a look at some of the Blade Runner movies coming up. We'll be getting a calendar out on socials, so if you want to follow along and play along with us, feel free. Until then, stay classy, Nomads.